all of you. So yeah, like I was saying, we're now Google for Education partners, and we're so happy to start this journey with Google and sort of see how we can improve on our product integrations and bring even more value to you, the education community. I'm also really happy to hear from Ryan and Holly on what they think of this amazing partnership. But whilst we're sort of going through this, I'd really like if all of you took a screenshot of this picture and sort of tweet it out, so tag us on Twitter, so you can tag Wakelet and Google for Education and tell us what you want to see from the partnership, tell us what you think of it. It'd be really, really nice to have your thoughts. But yeah, I mean, Ryan, any thoughts on the partnership? It's so great to finally be partners with you guys. It'd be great to hear something.
Yeah, thanks, Tejas. On our end, we're really excited that Wakelet is now part of the Google for Education Partner Program.
Yep.
I think obviously using Google tools with Wakelet provides just a great experience for you in your classroom. Really excited to work with the team, as Tejas said, to just continue to make the products work great together. Look to get some great ideas from Wakelet feature on the Chromebook App Hub, so you can learn even quicker ways of using Wakelet in your classroom today. As a former teacher, I definitely know the power of curating all of those resources out there on the internet that you're finding to add to your classroom, and so really great to see the work the team has done at Wakelet in order to become a partner.
No, thanks so much, and likewise, we're so excited to partner with you guys and really see where this journey takes us. And Holly, from an educator's standpoint, I know you're going to pick up on this later on, but really quick, how excited are you about this? I mean, what does it mean to you? It'd be really nice to have your thoughts. Hey, Holly, I don't think we can hear you.
Sorry about that.
No.
I was on mute. Things like Saturday Night Live a little bit, but so anytime you can partner with Google, it means that they're going to support you and bring a lot of resources to teachers. And so when I hear that, I get really excited because we're going to get some cool new stuff, and I think we're going to even talk about one of the new integrations today. So I'm super excited for this, and I love Wakelet, and I love Google, so the two of you together is, like the screen says, a heart.
Awesome. No, that's so good to hear. And no, I mean, essentially the way the webinar is going to work is I'll take you all through really briefly what Wakelet is, just in case you're new to the concept. We're going to then pass over to Ryan. Ryan's going to take you through a really few cool updates on Google integrations that are possible and the Google product suite. And then we'll go over to Holly after I take you through the integrations to really learn how educators are using the current integrations on Wakelet.com. So all of the Google integrations on Wakelet.com, how they're actually being used in the classroom. So let's get started. Essentially, Wakelet is a content curation platform. We allow you to save, organize, and present content from across the web. It can be broken down in 3 really simple steps where we help you save anything from the web, essentially articles, videos, blogs, tweets, anything with a link essentially. And then we allow you to actually curate and present these links. So we allow you to actually bookmark these links in a really systematic way. You can reorder them, add images, text, and more content for it to look really great. After which you can actually collaborate with your PLN or your students on collections. So all of the links are showcased and housed in a concept called a collection. You can collaborate with your PLN on these collections, have them add their links, sort of reorder it and restructure it for it to tell and showcase your stories, and then share it out to a great number of platforms, one of which is Google Classroom as well. So, I mean, we're going to touch up on this in a bit as well. So it should be pretty cool to see how you can use that going forward. But, without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Ryan Clark, who's the partner program lead at Google, who's so kindly joined us, of course, today. So Ryan, if you could please introduce yourself and sort of take over.
Yeah, thanks, Tejas. So as Tejas mentioned, I'm Ryan Clark. I work at the Google for Education team, and as a former teacher, really excited to be here with all of you today. I have the utmost respect for all educators. My wife is an educator included, and so really excited to be here on the call and give you a little bit of an update around the work that we're doing as Google for Education to really just try and help support you in this time. So, the way in which we see our goal is to just try and help support the needs of everyone in this time where you're learning from anywhere and at any time as well. So whether, you're a parent having a really important goal of trying to support your students, trying to understand, what is learning looking like in this new digital age, understanding your child's progress and how you might be able to support them. Or if you're a teacher, being able to collaborate seamlessly with your peers and colleagues, or being able to communicate effectively with your students. As students, they really need a lot of support. Something that Holly and I were talking about is just how students really need the support that meets their individual learning needs. And so, providing devices and tools in order to help students with their learning, whatever they might need in order to make them as most of just trying to make it so that it's easy in order to deploy devices that you need for distance learning, or using tools that you need in order to use distance learning. So really trying to make it as easy as possible for all stakeholders. And so on the next slide, you'll actually see that we've been working to evolve our products, our programs, our trainings to really provide the best support that we can in whatever capacity learning might look like in your environment. So at the Anywhere School event, we announced over 50 new product features this year, including a bot for Google Meet, Google Classroom, which hopefully can provide a lot of great support for you in your class. We've launched a lot of new programs. So we have our Teach from Anywhere page, which is just a great collection of resources no matter what you need. So if you need to learn how to set up a class for the first time, or need more advanced support, Teach from Anywhere is a really great resource to look at. And then a lot of training. So we've really enhanced and added to our EDU on Air programming. We've added a lot of new materials and revamped our Teacher Center. So a lot of resources available to you to support you wherever you might be in your journey with distance learning. Now on the next page, you'll see, we are really committed to providing this entire ecosystem of products, programs, trainings to really support you with whatever you might need. So whether that's using our productivity tools in G Suite, Google Classroom, we'll talk about in a second how much adoption we've seen just because of how easy and useful it is as a tool to support educators. To Chromebooks, we've seen lots of districts and schools leverage Chromebooks in order to help push out whether one-to-one or one-to-many programs. And then the App Hub. The Chromebook App Hub is a great place if you're looking for ideas in order to use new tools in the classroom, or just do digital lessons and ideas, which is really important during this time. It's a great resource for you. So on this slide, you'll see a little bit about G Suite, which you probably have used some tools, maybe Google Drive, Google Docs, Gmail, but we're really astounded to see that over 140 million students and educators are now using G Suite for education tools in some way in order to support their learning needs. And we've added a lot of new features to Google Meet in order to help control meetings and support student participation. That might be really helpful if you're trying to do a synchronous event like we're having right now. And then on the next slide, you'll see a little bit about Google Classroom. So Google Classroom that Teijas talked about a little earlier, which works really great because you can share from Wakelet into Google Classroom. We now have over 100 million students and educators worldwide using Google Classroom as a result of the pandemic. So we've seen Google Classroom be used as a tool just to really help support any part of the workflow, whether it's having those private comments to help support students, whether it's organizing and managing your assignments in Classroom, or whether it's just giving feedback. Giving feedback in a distanced manner can be challenging. And so we hope that Google Classroom can really help provide support for that. And a little tip for you, if you haven't already, but you can enable Meet right inside of Classroom, so that it makes it really easy to join a Meet event. It might be hard for your middle schoolers or high schoolers to always find the right place to join. And so hopefully having it right in Google Classroom is a way to make that process a little bit easier. And then a couple of just updates I wanted to make sure you were all aware of that launched at Back to School. So one was grade exports. So we are working to try and support with one roster compliant SIS systems in order to help with grade sync. So this is already live with Infinite Campus and currently in beta with a lot of other SIS tools. So make sure to ask your director at your school if you're using one of these SIS providers, and make it really easy to sync your grades from Google Classroom into that gradebook so that hopefully it reduces some of the time you might need. I remember having to copy the grades from one place to another. So this is something that we're really excited about. The next new feature that you'll see is that we also made it easier to help students in terms of to-do lists. So we tried to make it a lot cleaner and easier for students to understand what they need to do and what are the upcoming tasks they need to complete. Because we know as students are working more independently, any support we can provide for them is really essential to help continue to make them successful. And then the last new feature I wanted to talk about is just continuing to try and make it as easy as possible to join classes. So whether this is in the mobile app or whether this is using the web experience, just try and make it as easy as possible in order to join your class on Google Classroom. And so really excited about all those and a lot of new updates that will be coming out, but wanted to just continue to highlight, we're really excited about this partnership with Wakelet, and we just wanted to highlight what does it mean, that Wakelet has now become a Google for Education partner. And so, Wakelet and the team has done a really great amount of work in order to make sure that their tool is working and supporting you if you're using Chromebooks in your classroom, right? They built out a Chrome extension that they'll talk a little bit about just to make it really easy for you to deploy Wakelet on school devices and just really seamless to use if you're using the Chrome browser. They've also really ensured that they've added a lot of features to support specifically for schools, right? So teachers are a big user of both Wakelet and Google for Education tools. And so really looking to optimize and making sure they're designing for teachers in mind is something that both platforms have done. And then something that Teijas will talk about in just a second is just a lot of great interactions and integrations between Google for Education tools and Wakelet. So if you're using both of these tools in your classroom, hopefully you'll have really great success based on the integrations that exist between both platforms. And so with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Teijas.
Thanks so much for that, Ryan. I mean, that was...
Teijas, can you explain that there's just an audio issue that I'm just going to fix really quickly? So just tell everyone to just hang tight, okay?
Yeah, so there's a slight audio issue that obviously we've got Marcus behind the scenes who's trying to fix. So it should be all fixed very, very soon. Are we good to continue?
Yeah, you can continue. Just give me one moment.
Awesome. So essentially, like Ryan was saying, thanks so much to everyone who's joined, obviously, and to come and see us today. And all of the integrations, essentially, that I'm going to be showing you is going to showcase a lot of what Ryan said in terms of all of the updates that Google have actually brought on to the different sides of their product. We'll actually look at how we can bring it into some of our integrations on our product side and see how we can take it forward. But my bit's really not so much, about how users and educators use it. I'll be passing it over to Holly Clark later on in the webinar for her to actually showcase to you how specifically educators have found great use in these integrations. But I just wanted to sort of go over some of the great integrations that we allow for on Wakelet.com. So some of the great Google integrations that we have on our platform. So the first one's the Google Classroom integration. We obviously mentioned this at the very beginning. Essentially, when you create a Wakelet collection inside of Wakelet, you can also share it straight to Google Classroom. We will, going forward, be looking at some additional functionality that we'd add to this as well. But, hang tight over here. This is just a showcase of everything that we've got on the platform at the moment. It'd be really great to see, going forward, the updates that we bring on board. Second, we have a Google Drive integration. So for all of you who haven't used Wakelet before, essentially we allow you to pull content from Google Drive. So whether that's a video, whether that's, content that you've got your students to create, you can actually click on the Google Drive integration inside of a Wakelet collection and pull content inside from Google Drive straight into your collection. And third, we've got a YouTube integration. So the YouTube integration is an amazing concept where you can actually search for any YouTube videos straight from inside of Wakelet.com. And you can actually then select multiple videos on a particular topic and add it straight into your collection. Now, the great bit about this integration is that it's actually one of the highest used integrations on Wakelet.com. So a lot of educators like all of you are actually searching for useful educational content on YouTube and pulling it into a collection and sharing it with your PLN or your students. And finally, as Ryan mentioned, we've got an amazing Chrome extension. He mentioned, it's something that we worked very hard on to make it as accessible and useful to all of you. The Chrome extension sort of gives you a shortcut to using Wakelet. You can instantly bookmark links from the web into any collection. You can actually create collections using the Chrome extension as well. It's almost like Wakelet encapsulated into a little button on your Chrome browser or inside of your Chromebooks as well. And it should be really interesting to see how you use all of these amazing integrations going forward. And as I said, this is just the beginning. We've already had all of these integrations, and it'd be really, really cool to see how we build on this going forward because of this partnership now. So I'm going to now pass over to Holly Clark, who's going to take you through some really exciting ways in which educators have used the Wakelet and Google integrations in the classroom and beyond. So over to you, Holly.
Okay, great. I'm actually going to share my screen. And hi, everyone. I'm also the author of the Chromebook Infused Classroom. And in the Chromebook Infused Classroom, I end with the 20 superpowers that you need to understand to really make your Chromebook classroom everything that it can be. And of course, Wakelet is one of those top tools. And I want to show you an example that happened to me just last night. So here we are inside of my personal Wakelet dashboard. And this is where I can create new collections and things like that. But I'm co-teaching right now 8th grade honors English with another teacher. And the reason I'm co-teaching it is because she doesn't really know anything about technology. So I went to, and I just recreated this inside of my own Google Classroom, but I went to her classroom last night, or ours, and I saw this assignment sitting there about Edgar Allan Poe. And if we view this assignment, oops, let me go back, I need to view it. If we look at this more, she had all of these videos, and I'm telling you, this is real, this is what I saw last night. She had videos she wanted them to watch with all of this text that I was like, no, please, no. And so what I did to help make this more organized so that students asynchronously could work on this project when they're not with us is I took this exact thing and I created instead a little 8-step project directions that they could do. And we placed that into the classroom. But we took all of these videos and placed them into this Wakelet collection here. And I want you to see how I organized this. So when I did this, I followed the instructions listed. So step 1, watch these 3 biographical videos. If I go back here to this assignment, that's right here. Watch all 3 of these videos, but it's so much more confusing when we do it this way. And this was why the power of Google and Wakelet are so great, because we can take something that might be confusing for students and really clean it up and have these resources. So if I head back over here, I have a step 1, and I use to do this, I just put in add text. I put in the 3 videos, then step 2, listen to the Raven. So it becomes this place where things are more organized. And now when I create this classwork for this project, I'm just going to put in, through the assignment, the page, I'm going to bring in this thing, I'm going to bring in the Wakelet collection, which I can either share or I can just grab. Sometimes I do this, I just grab the link and also put it in. I've done that for times when I needed to make materials or put it as a resource. And so that is a way that we can really clean up, and let me go back, clean up the assignments that are starting to look like this. Or I see a lot of teachers who will just put up this video and just put up this video and that video. So Wakelet is really this powerful tool to really organize our classroom. Another thing that I have been using Wakelet for, and I'm going to head back over to my Wakelet dashboard, is I like to curate student exemplars. So this year we're going to be writing inside of Adobe Spark, and hopefully this opens. And I have all the exemplars from last year so that when it's time, I know where all of these are. So I curated the best ones to show my students this year. I keep this private because they are student examples, but they're a place where I can come back and find them when I need to show them. I also, right now, I'm curating. So we're going to be reading Anne Frank, and I find when we're reading Anne Frank, the kids want to know so much more about the Holocaust, but I'm their English teacher. That's really for the history teacher. I wish we were working together, but that's a whole nother show. So I've curated all of these extra resources if they want to know more about the Holocaust or see, talk to, or hear the story of a survivor. So it becomes a place where I can allow kids to go further. I can differentiate instruction because I can create resources that help some kids who might not be understanding a certain portion of our class. Like, I teach English, so maybe they need more help with nouns and verbs. I can curate and I can put inside of Google Classroom a resources page. So under topics, I would come over to Classroom, I would create a topic, and I would call it resources. This is what, in my real classroom with kids, I do have this. I have resources, and I've curated a bunch of different resources for students who need additional help. And then those Wakelet collections are placed here. I keep my resources down underneath my today topic, and kids always know that they can go there. When I put a new resource up in a Wakelet collection, I always go over it with them and show them what it is and why it's important for them. And then they can choose whether or not to use it. One last really cool way that we've been using Wakelet recently is through this thing called Spaces. And so we have a space here, and hopefully it opens. It should be opening. There it goes. And this space is shared with all of my students, and they have the ability to come in here and add music. So every morning when kids come to class, we start with music because it gets kids pumped up, and we have to wait for kids to log on, and so we don't start right at 8:30. So this is a place for them to put their musical requests. Some classes have done more, as you can see, 13 items and 12 items here. In this class, they don't really want to request music, or they just haven't. And so we have that space. But my students really sometimes don't know how to use Wakelet if they've been working with teachers who are not using this tool a lot. So I want to show you one other thing that I've created. I've created this. And this I share on, while it's opening, on Google Classroom under resources as well. But whenever I bring in a new tech tool, I make a video and I put it on YouTube, and I put it in here for them to learn how to use that. So we were using Canva for our manifesto. So I have a whole tutorial just in case they're absent or they need more time on how to use Canva for this project that we're doing. So these are some of the great ways that I'm using this. And one, as we heard about, I can just click on, sorry, let me do that again. I can click on share, and I can just share this straight to my Google Classroom. And when I do that, it gives me which class do I want to do it, and how do I want to make it, so I can choose the action. And now I can create an assignment. I can do all of these different ways to put it into my Google Classroom. So this power of Wakelet is helping me with the asynchronous work, and also helping get students understanding that they can curate their own resources, they can curate them on a space together as a group, and that they can really start to even curate their best work so they can see their growth over time. One thing educators should do is allow kids to create their own Wakelet collections where they take their best examples of work over the year and have those in a collection. And at the end of the year, they can go back into that collection, pick their best one, and explain why they are most proud of this piece of work. So it doesn't have to be all teacher focused or created. We can also allow students to create their own collections of resources and their own student created portfolio, really. So there's a lot of great ways you can use it. For this particular webinar, I made a blog post, and you can get to it by going to, and maybe someone could type this easy link in the chat, but if you go to infused.link/Wakelet, I have 10 ways you can get started using this in a Google Infused classroom, and you can check that out. So were there any questions or anything?
I don't think any at the moment, Holly, but I think we'd probably have to take that on, after. More than happy to.
There's people on the YouTube channel who answer questions as well, so
I think it shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to sort of again thank you, Holly, for sharing these amazing user cases of how teachers, educators can essentially use these two products in conjunction whilst improving their classroom engagement. And finally, before we sort of finish off the webinar, we were really wanting to touch up on, like Ryan did at the end of his presentation, what to expect from this partnership going forward. And it's going to be really exciting because we're going to bring in some developments on our present integrations to see how we can improve it further. We're also going to be looking at, for example, doing a really exciting event, I think maybe sometime in November or December. So keep an eye out for that, where we'll essentially have an educator actually go over all of the integrations and talk you through in depth, how specifically they can be used in your classroom to improve engagement and really give your students a better opportunity to use online resources, especially during these remote learning times. I do apologize for any disturbances or technical difficulties that you've sort of come across through the webinar. It's a challenging time for all of us working from home, but hopefully you've all got a lot of value from today's webinar, and you're going to take back some great learning points and start using these two amazing products together. But yeah, really, really happy to finally have the Google and Wakelet partnership surface publicly, and can't wait to see how you, the community, make the most of this great partnership. Like I said, tweet us out, tell us what you expect, what you'd like to see from the partnership, and we'll do our best to make all of your wishes sort of come into our product plans. So thanks again, and looking forward to seeing all of you on Twitter maybe. Thank you. Bye.